What I want to suggest is that from today forward, if you hadn't already, decide to do something different. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And it's all about your mindset. I understand from Mr. Dennard, you all didn't have to be here. That some people refused to come, but you all decided you come. So that means there's something within you that knows this is not you. Look at these jumpsuits you got on. Every time I used to have court, I get so mad because I'm thinking, the folks who came before us, they fought, they died, so we have a choice other than this madness. And then look what your choices are doing, putting you here. That's crazy. And so what I'm suggesting you do is do something different. You can do anything. Why do this? Why give up your days, your life to a system that is not about you? It's very few people who come in a system and improve because of the system. They improve because something in their mind changes. And so what I'm suggesting to you all, to change what's in your mind, to want to do something different. And guess what? I don't care how old you are. You're never too old to start over. Every day we wake up, we start over. So the question is, what are you going to start over doing? Are you going to start over doing the same thing you did yesterday? You know, they say insanity is the definition of doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So if what you've been doing, particularly my friends who I see back here, if what you've been doing keeps bringing you back here, that's insane. Do something different. And I don't know why my spirit told me to say this, but I'm just going to say it. In all my years of prosecution, when I was on the Fed level, the state level, all of that, after I did defense work, I never met someone who was consistently committing crimes excel in life. So for instance, one of the biggest drug dealers in Middle Georgia, he had gotten so big, he owned a whole shopping plaza. He owned beauty shops and salons and everything. I mean, when he walked in to talk to me, he had the monogram shirts. He looked like he was a Wall Street person. And I thought, as I said, why do you keep doing this? You had gained all these assets and you keep slinging dope. And he came in with his high-priced Atlanta attorney, and I was willing to give him a deal because he was so insulated with his crew that I was like, how am I going to break through with them? I offered him 5 years. He looked at me and laughed. I said, that's a laugh that you're going to regret. We ended up going all the way to the end, and I got some of his folks to help me out, who ended up changing their mind. One of them is now driving trucks. And at the end of the day, he ended up getting like 30, 40 years. And all that crap, I forfeited. The shopping plaza, the houses, the cars. It ends in disaster. And so what I'm saying to you all, change your mind, try to do something different. And guess what? We're going to go to the second part. I don't care how you were raised, what your circumstances are, and what you came up through. Guess what? All of us have been broken by life. I cry too. I've been disappointed too. My life has not been a bed of roses, believe you me. And because people don't believe that when we get in positions of power, y'all ought to know that for African Americans. I don't care how high we get, we've had some struggles. My father had a mental health illness. He could not give me what I needed as a little girl growing up. So I had a lot of personal issues with not being good enough. We all are broken. But the question is, are you going to allow those circumstances, what happened to you, what didn't happen to you, what should have happened to you, determine your trajectory? Don't do it. I don't care where you grew up. I don't care what your situation was. Neither of my parents finished college. My mom worked in food service her whole life. But I refuse to let myself believe that that's all I can do and that's all I can be. And I'm going to say something some of y'all may not like, but I just got to put it out there. I knew I was created for more than that. I knew that was a purpose and a plan for my life. And it wasn't to just relegate in mediocrity, to just say, okay, this is all I can do. You're greater than this. And I don't care what anybody told you. You're more than these jumpsuits you got on. You're more than a rap sheet. And anybody who's been in my court knows that I made you talk to me. Because it's a person behind all that stuff in black and white. And so what I'm saying to you, don't let people define you by your past. You redefine yourself by the decision you make today, tomorrow, and moving forward. Because they're going to always throw your past up in your face. But you throw up your future. And the way you throw up your future is by choosing to do something different. And check this out. Everybody in your circle is not in your corner. Let me say that again. Everybody in your circle is not in your corner. And sometimes that's family. And guess what? When we recognize people aren't in our circle, we got to reconfigure that thing. We got to redefine our circle. Because some of y'all are here because of the circle. And guess what? I'm going to tell you what, as a result of my work in Superior Court, I became kind of a friend of the lifers group that was started by one of the inmates at Verda. They're all doing life. And so I would go speak to them. And one of them is now out working every day, he's married, and he and I are still friends. I got to call him because we've got to go to dinner. But he said something to me that was so powerful. He said, I recognize a lot of the choices I made when I was 16 and pulled that trigger was because of the circle that I allowed myself to be in. And I allowed those people in that circle to influence my mindset. And so, and he said this to me too. He would write letters for me to read to the kids and consider the consequences. He said, none of those folks in the circle put money in my books. None of them went to see about my mom. None of that. So what I'm saying to you all, when you know, and I see some head shaking, when you know that circle has not done you well, change the circle. And you may have to stand alone. You may have to be called some names. You may have to do some things differently, roll different ways. But guess what? Maybe you'll have a different life. And it won't be what it is. And this is real talk. I mean, like, how many of you all got kids? And are any of those kids boys? Do you want them to ever be in a place like this wearing a jumpsuit? You got to do something different. They can't be what they don't see. And what they see first is you. How many of you all have daughters? Do you want your daughters to struggle, wondering if she's good enough? Wondering if she's worthy? My dad went in jail and had a mental health bill. The same, it prevents those same kinds of healthy growths for children. Because, they can't be there for you. I moved past it, but everybody doesn't move past that, what they don't get. You all have an obligation, a duty to those children to show them what they can be. And then check this out. The only way they're going to do that is if you're authentic with them when you start showing them what they can be. Admit your mistakes. Tell them this is not the route you want for them. Own up to your stuff. Because when you do that to them, you'll own up to it within yourself. And when you own up within yourself, you can make some changes. But until you do that, there will be no change. And why are you sitting here, young man? I don't understand. You can put on a suit and tie and go get a job. Ooh, now if I was on the bench, we'd be, we'd really be going back and forth.
We could.
Yeah. But you got to do something different. And guess what, guys? I don't know what you're in here for, but get out of here and do something different. Don't come up in this place. And all of you, I'm just going to say this, all of you all are attractive gentlemen. If you start moving different, things in life will move different from you. And guess what? It ain't going to be easy at first. The gentleman that I told you about, he had that same job they gave him once he went to the halfway house that, they don't pay you much and give you these jobs that don't really give you a lot of respect or, acknowledgement for your gifts. And so he was like, Judge, I need a career. And so I hooked him up with a distributing company, a beer distributing company, and now he's working for him, and, soon he'll probably be a supervisor. But people will see something in you, and they will invest in you. But you got to be willing to do the hard work to show them that you made the change. And so you got to do some grunt work for a while. But we always have as a people. I had to. There are many times people bypassed me, got positions in my offices that I didn't get, got paid. I found out from one of my girlfriends who was of a different hue than me that she came in making about $20,000 more than me. That was hurtful, but you know what I did? I just grind more. I was like, I'm going to be excellent. I don't know when it's going to pay off, but it's going to pay off. And that's what I'm saying to you all. Just grind. Don't come back to this place.